I don't know about you, but breakfast is one of my favorite meals of the day. There's something so great about waking up and eating something so delicious and nutritious to start your day off right. And if you're new to plant-based eating, breakfast can actually be one of the easiest meals to make completely plant-based. So that's why I'm so excited to share with you my top 3 easy vegan breakfast recipes for beginners. So a lot of vegan breakfast recipes tend to be more on the sweet side. So today we're gonna start out with a savory dish, and that is a classic tofu scramble. So to create this tofu scramble, you're going to first obviously need some tofu, and I use firm tofu for that. And then we're gonna have some spices and vegetables of choice. So today I'm going with mushrooms, green peppers, mini red peppers, onion, tomatoes, and curly kale. For the spices, I'm using nutritional yeast, turmeric, half a teaspoon of onion salt, black salt, and then salt and pepper to taste. So the first thing that we're gonna do is chop up all the vegetables so that they're ready to saute, beginning with the onions and the mushrooms. So first I'm starting with half of a white onion. You can really use any kind of onion that you want, and then I just like to slice and dice them into small little pieces. Then we move on to slice the mushrooms. And the reason that I like to do the onions and mushrooms first is because they go first in the skillet to saute before all of the other vegetables go in. All right, then onto my green peppers. I had these left over, so they were already kind of sliced. I like to chop mine into small pieces. Same with my little red peppers. You can use any kind of pepper you want. I just like to make my dish super colorful. And then onto the cherry tomatoes. I got these from my local CSA box. Super fresh, super yummy, small pieces again. Then for the kale, I chop this into also small pieces, or you could just rip it up with your hands. All right, so now that we have all of our vegetables chopped, we're gonna move on to the tofu portion of the tofu scramble. So now I just break up my tofu with my hands, and then I will use a fork to break it up even more to resemble scrambled eggs. And then again, I like to make the pieces even smaller and break it up with my hands. You can use a fork or your hands, whatever you want. All right, now that we have our tofu scrambled up, we're gonna start adding our seasonings and spices, beginning with nutritional yeast. And if you've watched my videos before, you know that I like to add non-fortified nutritional yeast rather than fortified because it tastes better to me. And this is about 1 to 2 tablespoons. All right, next we're gonna move on to the turmeric. And this is what gives it its yellow, nice color to remind you of scrambled eggs. And turmeric is also anti-inflammatory, so that's a plus too. All right, so now we have half a teaspoon of garlic powder and half a teaspoon of onion powder, and this just gives it a lot more flavor. All right, so last we have our black salt. It's also called kalonamic salt. I don't know how to say it, but anyway, this is what gives it its eggy flavor. It's optional, but it honestly does taste more like scrambled eggs to me when I add this to mine. I've used it without, it's totally great, but I really do like this one, and I get mine on Amazon. So once you have all of the seasonings in the tofu, you like to mix it up and make sure all of the tofu is coated evenly with the seasonings to resemble scrambled eggs. All right, so moving on to the stovetop, we're gonna start with sauteing our vegetables, beginning with the onions and mushrooms, and we wanna turn it on to medium heat. So here we're just gonna let our mushrooms and onions get nice and soft. If you need to add water, you can. I usually don't have to add water, but some different skillets might need water. All right, so now that our mushrooms and onions are getting softer, we're gonna go ahead and add in some more vegetables, green peppers, red peppers, tomatoes. Ooh, look how colorful. So we saute this now for about 2 minutes or so. Okay, so now we're gonna add in the tofu scramble to the mixture, making sure it gets all nice and hot. Thoroughly mix it all together. Wow, looks like scrambled eggs, but it's tofu. And you want this to get nice and heated through, so it's all warm. Now we're going to add in the kale and mix it all together until it's nice and combined and the kale starts to wilt. And this is also where you can add salt and pepper to taste if you want, or if you need to add more black salt, then go for it. All right, so it is done. It looks nice and colorful and beautiful and like scrambled eggs. And now it is time for the taste test, because that's my favorite part. Oh, man. Like, it's very delicious. If you're somebody who used to like eggs, or if you were vegetarian and now you're vegan, like, this tastes legit like scrambled eggs to me. All right, so my favorite ways to serve this is obviously just eating it as scrambled tofu as is, or I also like to put it on top of toast or avocado toast and be super trendy. So our second breakfast recipe is the classic just banana blueberry oatmeal. And for the base, we have lots of ingredients. So we've got a banana. I usually just use about half of a banana, but we'll get to that. And then about half a teaspoon of cinnamon, about half a cup of unsweetened vanilla almond milk. We might need to add more, we'll see. And then this is weird, but a 1/4 cup of chickpeas. It adds more texture, it gives it a little more thickness, and lots more protein. And then 1/3 of a cup of oats. So first we're going to mash the banana, and this will give it the sweetness in the oatmeal. I like to use about half of a mashed banana, but you could use a whole one if you like it a little bit more sweeter or a little bit more banana-y. All right, so next we're gonna add the chickpeas into the bananas and mash it even more. I know this might sound weird, but I like putting chickpeas in my oatmeal. I think it gives it a little bit more depth of flavor. It makes it a little bit more thicker if you like that. Obviously, you can thin it out with more milk. I also like it because it adds a lot more protein to your meal as well. Next, I'm just gonna add in half a teaspoon of cinnamon to this mixture. Mix it all around, get it nice and even. So now it's time to actually make the oatmeal, and I like to use unsweetened almond milk. I think it tastes way better than just water, and I'm using half a cup because I like my oatmeal really thick, but I might need to add more as I go along. So if you already know that you like yours a little bit more thin, then I would definitely start with more almond milk. Okay, also to the almond milk, I'm going to add a little sprinkle of Himalayan pink salt and let it boil. All right, so once it's boiling, you're going to add in your 1/3 cup of oats, mix it together, and then cover it. Then you want to reduce your heat to low or medium low and let it sit for 5 minutes. So I didn't turn it down to low in enough time, so don't be like me. Turn it down to low and let it simmer so it doesn't boil over. Okay, so obviously this oatmeal is like super thin, and so if you were not going to add the chickpeas or whatever, or bananas, then obviously you would need to keep going and letting it sit longer, but I'm going to add this to try to make it a little bit thicker, give it the sweetness, and then I'll probably also let it just sit even longer as well, again, just because I like mine extra thick. All right, so I am going to cover mine for a little bit longer and let it simmer for a couple more minutes. All right, so I just took it off of the stove, so it is still really hot, and I'm gonna pour it into this bowl that I use for the bananas because I don't like wasting bowls and I don't like cleaning the dishes. All right, so now I'm just going to add some frozen blueberries to the top. Now I'm just adding in the banana slices. All right, now I'm gonna add in some ground flaxseed, then a little bit of almond butter. Okay, now that the oatmeal is done, it's time to try it. This is always my favorite part, is eating the recipes I create. Okay, here we go. It's so banana-y and cinnamony, and like I really can't even taste the chickpeas. So now it's our 3rd breakfast recipe, just a coconut yogurt bowl. This is probably the easiest and quickest of the recipes that I'm showing you today, so it's perfect for those mornings when you're just on the go and you gotta do what you gotta do, and you can still eat a healthy, nutritious breakfast. All right, so for this recipe, you're going to need some apples that we're going to chop, a fig, banana, blackberries. I use this raspberry lava yogurt. It is completely vegan and plant-based. It's made with pili nuts and coconuts. Moving on to the chia seeds and love-grown Power-O's, or a choice of granola or other plant-based cereal of your choice. I like this one because it's made from beans and it has protein in it. So to start, I like to chop all my fruit first, starting with the banana. I just like chopping them into like thin little slices. Next, the apples. And now for the fig, I like to cut off the little stem first because I don't like to eat that part. And I'll cut it in half. And then it's so pretty on the inside. Cut it again, cut it again. All right, so now that everything is nice and prepped, it is time to assemble. So first I'm going to add in the coconut yogurt. Again, my favorite brand is the Lava brand because they don't add any sugars to it at all. It's just naturally sweetened by the fruit itself. I'm gonna add in some blackberries, then some figs, then the banana, a couple of apple slices, chia seeds, and last but not least, a nice and crunchy love-grown Power-O's. All right, so now the bowl is done. You saw how quick and easy that is, and now I get to taste the yogurt. It's so good. light and fresh, super quick, super easy. All right, so now we have all of our 3 easy vegan breakfast recipes. I want you to tell me in the comments below which one is your favorite and which one you are going to make first. So if you like this video and you want more vegan recipe ideas, then you need to go ahead and check out my next video, which is the vegan grocery haul. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on post notifications so that you never miss a video from me. I will see y'all next time.